Hey everybody, we are going to do a little lesson here on the unit circle. The unit circle is definitely one of the most important things we are going to do and use here. You will find also part of this assignment here for the day a blank unit circle that I'd like you to fill in. Eventually, I'll give you one in class too, a hard copy one, because it'll be nice to have. And so you might want to do that one instead or wait for that one. But I'll give you a blank one. I'm also going to give you a complete one attached to it as well. All right, before we do the unit circle and explain it, this is going to take some time. I'm going to talk about 30, 60, and 45, 45, 90 triangles from geometry. So let's refresh our brains on those. First of all, the 45. Look at the 45 here. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I had to change some settings here. All right, so we're going to make a 45 triangle. Do the best. This is ugly. Okay. Ooh. There we go. So 45 and a 45. Okay, so what we learned in a 45-45 triangle was that this side and this side were the same. Okay, so whatever they were, those ones were going to be the same. And then this would be whatever that side is times the square root of 2. Okay, so if you remember, what that meant is if I told you this side was 5, then this side is 5, and this side would be 5, the square root of 2. Okay? All right. So, erase those numbers out. For our purpose, though, we're going to look at it slightly different. We're gonna look at what happens if I knew the hypotenuse. Let's say it was 1. Okay, what would the other two sides be? Well, what you kind of learned in geometry was to do something like this and figure out x. So divide by the square root of 2, so you get x is 1 over the square root of 2, and then you'd have to rationalize, and you get square root of 2 over 2. So this side is the square root of 2 over 2, and this side is the square root of 2 over 2. Okay? All right, so we're going to use those numbers. I'll put them back on the other notes page in a minute. All right, so then the other one is the 30-60. Okay, so this would be 60 degrees. This is 30 degrees. What you learned is if I knew the short leg, the hypotenuse was 2 times that, and the long leg was x, the square root of 3. Okay, so again, if I would have known this was, say, 5, then this one would be 10, and this would be 5, the square root of 3. Right? Okay. Now, for our purpose, just like I did in the last one, I'm going to say the hypotenuse is 1. Well, that's easy what the short leg is, since this is 2x. Like we could do it off to the side here. 2x is 1, so x is going to be 1/2. Okay, so this is 1/2. And then this would be 1/2 times the square root of 3, which we normally write as square root of 3 over 2. All right, so we're going to keep those numbers in mind. We're going to go back to our notes here, and I'm going to actually try to draw them in here. So this one here is 1 square root of 2 over 2. 2 over 2. And this one is 1/1/2. That's horrible. And root 3 over 2. Again, this is 60, this is 30, and 45. Sorry about the writing's a little bad because I don't have my normal pen. I have to use a stylus that doesn't write as nice. Okay, so now we're going to fill in the chart. I'm not too worried about a couple things on here, but we're going to look at the chart here. And so I'm going to look at, let's say, 30. So here's my 30 degrees. That would be my reference. So that means, opposite, that's opposite. This is hypotenuse. That'd be 1/2 over 1. So 30 is 1/2. This will be my adjacent. So adjacent over hypotenuse would be root 3 over 2. Okay. Tangent, you know what? In fact, let's hold off on the tangents for now, for a second, and I'll come back to them in a minute. All right. And so then we'll do the same thing with the 45, and then we'll do the 60. So we'll pick a 45. This will be opposite. This is adjacent hypotenuse. And hopefully you see, since we made the hypotenuse 1, the problems become pretty easy. Root 2 over 2, and root 2 over 2. Oops, I put them in the wrong spot. You should go here. Let's erase these out. Now, the 60, we're going to use this as my reference, so then this, of course, becomes your opposite. This is your adjacent. All right? So, in that case, my sine would be opposite of hypotenuse is root 3 over 2 over 1, and then cosine is 1/2. Kind of notice these two switch places. That's something, it's a property we're going to discuss as we get further along in trig. Anytime two angles add up to 90 degrees, their sine and cosines are just opposites of each other. Okay. All right, now let's look at the tangents. Let's start with the tangent of 30. Well, actually we'll do 60 since my triangle has an O and an A. So if I did that, the opposite over adjacent would be root 3 over 2 over 1/2. Remember, when you multiply, or when you divide, you multiply by the reciprocal. So those cancel. So this would be that. Okay. For our purpose here, just to save a little time and space, I know I don't have much space here in room. Let's see, maybe I do. All right, I do. So then if I went the other way for 30, it would be 1/2 over root 3 over 2 is 1/2 times 2 over root 3, which is 1 over root 3. And hopefully you can see if I rationalize that, I get 3 over 3. Okay. For tangent of the 45, you're going to have root 2 over 2 over root 2 over 2. That's just going to be 1. All right? Okay. So keep this table in mind as we kind of move forward here. And we're going to kind of do something here. What we're going to look at is what's called a unit circle. Okay, a unit circle is, I'm going to scroll down here, is this thing. It is a circle that has a radius of 1. So this distance here is 1. Okay, so the radius is 1. So if I just take a look, I only want to take a look at this quadrant here for right now. Okay, so that's all I'm looking at. So if I look at just that, and I start drawing some lines here, and what this point is, if I were to draw a line out here, this is 30 degrees. Okay, and so then we could drop down, and what we end up with is a 30-60 triangle. Well, remember what I said, this circle that this is part of has a radius of 1, so that means this distance is 1, right? And what are these other lengths from our triangle before? Well, this one's 1/2, this one's root 3 over 2. Right? Now, so what ordered pair would that be? Well, remember, it's x, which is this length here, so that would be root 3. Oops. That would be root 3. Whoa, let's erase that. That would be root 3 over 2. And then the y is the distance going up, so that's 1/2. Okay, so that's where these ordered pairs come from. That's the first thing we need to see, is where that ordered pair comes from. So then next, I'm going to skip the 45, because the 45 doesn't help me decide things here. All right, so I'm going to make the triangle here, and this one is a 60-degree angle. Again, this is 1, but then this side would be 1/2, and this side 3 over 2. Okay, now the ordered pair, the x is 1/2, and the y is root 3 over 2. Okay, now, go back to our table, second. And what I want to focus in on are these two things and these two things. Okay, so sine at 30 is 1/2, and cosine at 30 is root 3 over 2. All right, so this point that we're referring to right here is the 30-degree one. And we know sine is 1/2. Notice that's there. And so that's sine. And then cosine is 3/2. Okay? So then, if we go over here at 60, this now is the 60-degree angle. Sine is √3/2, and cosine is 1/2. What I'm getting at is these ordered pairs will tell you the answer for sine and cosine of any angle. So the sine is this one always, notice. Okay. And then the cosine is this one. So what is that? Well, what we're going to write here in a minute was we're going to realize that sine equals the y, and cosine is the x. Okay? Now, what is this? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to see the unit circle. Well, let's look at it. I'm going to look at a full unit circle here for you. So there's everything. And now notice, if you can see, at 30 degrees, you can see the 30 there, √3, the ordered pair. The ordered pair is √3/2, and you can see that's the ordered pair we just mentioned. And at 60, it's 1/2 √3/2. That's what we had written as well. Notice as you go forward here and go around the unit circle, the ordered pairs are going to be the same. Right? They're going to be exactly the same, just changing signs. In quadrant 2, that becomes negative √3/2 and positive 1/2. So what good is that? Well, at 150 degrees, if I want to know sine at 150 degrees, I know sine is y. Sine of 150 degrees is 1/2. I don't need a calculator to get that value, and I can get exact values, which we'll talk more about on Friday. Okay? So that's the purpose of the unit circle. This thing you're going to have memorized. You're going to need to know. Okay? And we'll talk more about it on Friday. But I have a blank one that I've attached here. I'm going to give you a blank one the next time I see you guys that I want you to fill out. And eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you one of these blank ones in class, and you have to fill it in. You have to do it in 5 minutes. Okay? You need to know everything that's on here. It sounds daunting and hard, but we'll go over it when we get together, how you can kind of memorize and work through this. All right? So let me go back here. Let's write some other stuff because we're going to need this tomorrow. Okay? So first thing is, you know how this ordered pair was √3/2 and 1/2. What I want you to see, and this is what's going to help you kind of memorize things, this point, this point, this point, and this point are all going to be the same, just the signs change, right? They're all √3/2, 1/2, √3/2, 1/2. It's this one's negative over here for the first, right? And then positive. This one, they're both negative. And then this one is reset. This one here is going to be a positive and then a negative. But then the numbers stay the same. So that's one of the things we're going to talk about in terms of understanding. All right, so what I need, the last thing I want you guys to write down or know is what everything is here. So cosine, we're going to say theta, is the x. Sine, theta is the y. And tangent, theta, we didn't talk about it, but it's going to work out to be y/x. We'll talk about it a little bit more the next time. And we could do the other 3. We'll write them here. This one's secant is the reciprocal, but we'll talk about a different way to kind of look at these. Cosecant is the reciprocal, which is 1/y, and cotangent. Okay. Really, the only thing in terms of an assignment would be, if you can, fill in that blank one, start looking at it. But to be honest, I'll give you a hard copy one when you come into class that you can start doing that as well. All right? Okay. Friday, we're going to talk about that, kind of review a little bit, because I'm going to go over this today in class with students as well. And then Friday, we'll get you all together and try to make a little more sense of this. All right? Okay. Have a good day.